Hello and welcome to Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston and this is the Early Trade Show where we take a look at how the early session has panned out. So let's get stuck in. Australian shares fell in the opening minutes of Thursday's trading session, dragging the S&P ASX 200 0.4% lower. The decline followed a 0.5% fall for US blue chips and were led by the energy sector, which tumbled 1.9%, followed by tech shares, which were down by 1.3%. Energy shares fell after the price of oil weakened overnight, reflecting downward pressure across the commodities complex that also hit iron ore and gold. Financial institution ANZ saw its shares rise by 1.9%, following better than expected profit results, while consumer goods retailer JB Hi-Fi had their shares easing by 2.9%, and that was going up after disclosing September quarterly sales. Moving on, and the Australian Securities and Investments Commission says that the conclusion of its report into the closure of the Australian share market for a full day last November is now imminent. ASIC is investigating whether the Australian Securities Exchange met its licence obligations during the outage. ASIC Chairman Joe Longo told a Senate committee on Thursday that the ASX had been cooperating well with the investigation to date. Wednesday's higher than anticipated core consumer price index increase indicates that underlying inflation is more widespread than initially thought and adds pressure on the Reserve Bank of Australia to hasten its monetary tightening, according to ANZ. A sustained rise in consumer prices would compel the central bank to bring forward its rates guidance 1 year to 2023 and drop the yield curve control program that has anchored yields on 3-year bonds maturing in April 2024 to 10 basis points. There's also a number of AGMs today for shareholders, including entertainment company Star Entertainment, mining and metals company South32, retailer JB Hi-Fi, travel agency Corporate Travel Management, investment firm Challenger, plumbing supplier Reece, building and construction material supplier Boral, and salmon farming company Tassal Group. Additionally, quarterly reports are due from mining heavyweights Fortescue Metals and Newcrest, as well as nickel producer IGO and a host of smaller companies. Well, time now for a very short break on Kalkine TV, and in just a moment we'll take a look at today's newsmakers on the early trades. Hi there, James Preston for Kalkine TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google, to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. Kalkine's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on the Tech Beat, exclusive to Kalkine TV. Welcome back to the Early Trades on Kalkine TV. I'm James Preston, and it's time now to take a look at today's newsmakers. Banking group ANZ has reported a full-year cash profit from continuing operations of $6.2 billion, beating consensus forecasts for a $6.06 billion result. Its profit was 65% better than a year ago, despite statutory operating income from continuing operations falling by 1%. The stronger profit result was driven by the partial reversal of COVID-19 related credit provisions. The bank said profits grew in Australia retail and commercial despite challenges with processing numerous home loans. Commercial real estate company Unibail-Rodamco-Westfield has noted an increase in activity across its properties, led by the reopening of Europe that has reduced vacancy rates and improved the business outlook for the remainder of the year. Tenant sales across its continental European centres now sit at 92% of 2019 levels, and vacancy rates across the business have improved from 8.3% last year to 7.9% in the September quarter. Iron ore shipments for mining heavyweight Fortescue Metals rose 3% to 45.6 million tonnes in the September quarter to mark a record high for the period. The company achieved average revenue of $118 per dry metric tonne, around 3/4 of the average price of the commodity, according to the Platts 62% CFR index. Production guidance for the 2022 financial year remains unchanged, and the company drew attention to its plans for renewable power and its net zero carbon emissions targets for 2040. Trading marketplace. hipages Group's revenue has risen in the first quarter of the new financial year, despite COVID-19 lockdowns and restrictions affecting both Victoria and New South Wales. The company's total revenue was up 14% from a year ago, while recurring revenue rose 17%. Financial services provider IOOF suffered net investor redemptions from its financial advice and funds management units in the September quarter, although increases in fund holdings helped to push up overall assets under management and administration. Investors clawed back $1.4 billion in net outflows during the quarter, while market gains of $2 billion pushed overall funds under management to $98.3 billion. Funds under administration also edged $1.8 billion higher to $222.8 billion, despite net outflows of $900 million, as market gains added $3.4 billion to the overall total. High vaccination rates and an earlier reopening of both New South Wales and Victoria has led the Commonwealth Bank to upgrade its forecast for the Australian economy and bring forward its rate hike expectations. The bank noted the exceptional take-up of the COVID-19 vaccine, that the labour market held up better than feared during lockdowns in both Victoria and New South Wales, and the reopening of the two states occurring ahead of schedule. Commonwealth Bank revised its 2021 GDP forecast from 3% to 3.5% and from 4% to 4.4% in 2022. It also expects unemployment to sit at 4.7% by the end of this year, down from its previous projection of 5.2%. Alright, well that's all for now. Our commentary and review of the early morning trading session is all done and dusted. Stay tuned to Kalkine TV for the latest market updates, business news and exclusive interviews. I'm James Preston, signing off for now.